it. I liked it. I was a big fan, so I think everybody wants to hear it twice.
MLG production quality. That's what we've got
Fucking
here.
NASL sound guy, dude. I can't handle
No,
this
that's in
anymore. I'm
fact
out.
that's
I
right.
quit.
I'm gonna
Quit.
blame Ravi. It's Ravi's fault. I can see him in the chat, and I'm sure that he had something to do with it.
He's actually the only thing going right for us at the moment,
That's
so
right.
you can't really blame him.
That's
You gotta blame
true.
someone else.
That's true. Sorry guys, we are here for the Probe StarCraft League. It's the final day and we've got some great games coming up. Of course, we've got Cedar who has progressed through to the grand finals. So he'll be waiting there to see if he's going to fight against a Terran or a Zerg. Of course, as you can see from the bracket, we've got Iaguz up against Crimson, which is going to be our first game of the day. So we're going to go through these games and we're just going to go straight through them. Of course, one of the big things that we like here is no downtime. So we're going to try and limit that as best as we can. Of course, we're going to deliver you the best quality StarCraft entertainment that we can. So here, myself, Duckville, and of course Bob is joining me. Some say he can control Dragoons in Brood War. He's got that much APM, but we'll see.
I wouldn't go that far. It's close.
It's
close.
risky. It's a risky call.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bob's going to be joining me here. Of course, if you hop over to my Facebook page as well, facebook.com/duckville.casting, I've just put up a new little picture there, which you guys might like. I'm sort of just doing a little announcement of an announcement that I'm coming back to doing commentary.
In true StarCraft style. True
Yeah,
StarCraft.
no, exactly. I thought we'd go back to our roots.
Yep.
So, yeah, make sure you check out that, and you can have a look at some of my own stuff. Bob, tell us, what have we got in store for the players here? What's on the line?
Well, we've got Melbourne land points, of course. Is that what they're called? Oh boy, I told this so much last week.
No, you
and
got it.
$100, $100 for first place, right? Or is it 150? I don't have my note sheet up.
It's
I'm so
100.
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's 100. It's all right.
100.
You've got it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And for the seed, I mean, that's like $1 million tournament. That's about as high as it gets.
Well,
so,
pretty much.
real huge stakes. Yeah.
It's $100
$100 might be able to buy you the game they're playing in right now in Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
Almost. That's
Sorry.
like if
I don't know
if you
the
take
conversions.
if you take GST off, that's probably where it sits. So yeah, we've got $100 and 150 Melbourne land points for first place. Plus, you get a seed into next month's tournament. Of course, the PSL is something that Probe is looking to run on a consistent basis, just as a local tournament. Of course, we do have eligibility extends to C and Japan as well. So if you're in any of those regions, you can join in the fun. But primarily, of course, we see a lot of Australian players, some of the New Zealand players as well. And of course, we play on the current ladder pool as well. So that might be changing up soonish, I think. I'm not too sure.
Blood Boil and Sequencer soon. Really soon. Next season. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Should be awesome. All right, so what we'll do is we will jump straight into our first game. It is going to be this Terran versus Zerg featuring Iaguz, of course, of Australian fame, the guy with the mustache and the hair and the...
He actually got a portrait of himself in StarCraft. I don't know how he did that. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good. And, well, actually, that portrait that Crimson's using is actually quite similar to what he looks like, too. He spits out of his shoulders.
I was going to say, that's really impressive. Both these players.
Yeah. So we are going to jump right into this game. These are these best of, I couldn't remember. I think it's best of threes.
Best of 5.
Best of 5s, right?
It should be a best of 5. Yep.
Yep. So we are here, and of course this screen isn't working properly because it's good times in the dead mines. Let me just fix this.
First game of the day. This is when it's allowed to happen. After that, though, no, you're done. You can't let it happen again.
There you
You're
go.
gonna get
No,
fired.
that's true. So, we are here on Palladino Terminal, which Bop and I discovered is effectively Zelnaga Caverns, in a way. So down here in the bottom right, it is our Terran player Iaguz, and at the top left is our Red Zerg player Crimson. So, talk to me, what are we expecting from these two players based on what we saw in the previous the previous round of this tournament?
Well, from the previous rounds, we saw Iaguz just absolute macro mechanical god. Like, no one seemed to be on his level in this tournament. And I think Crimson's going to have watched those games. While they may not have been versus Zerg, he's going to know, yeah, I got to cheese this guy. I'm really going to need to cheese this guy out of this tournament if I want to win. So I'm looking to see Crimson come out of the gates real fast and try to disrupt Iaguz as much as he can.
Yeah, it's something. It's very similar to playing against like some of those a couple of particular top Protoss players in Korea, or a couple of the Terran players, or even someone like Dark or something like that, where you kind of, if you get to the macro stage of the game against Iaguz, he's just going to just destroy you because he's got that power of that macro.
He just has more than most people, and no one knows how. Like us mid-level players, were like, dude, did you like cheat in money? How did you do that? I gotta say, when you're playing against these top tiers players, a while ago, a couple months ago, I was able to play. It was actually a year ago. Now time flies. I played in a tournament against Zest, and when you play against those guys, you gotta cheese them. It's the only way. You're not gonna macro with those people, and I may have lost the cheese, but it was a lot closer than if I tried to macro against him. And I'd like to see that from Crimson, just getting his base. He's going back into gas pretty quick here. At least 2. It's not just staying on 1, so maybe we'll see a little mainling bust, a little quick layer. Who knows? Yeah,
we'll see. It's it is an interesting map for it as well. There's a couple of odd features. We've got some old school stuff like the smoke in the base protecting a particular corner, which was something.
That supply depot.
Yeah. So he's not going to get dropped. He's already scouted that out. He's got that supply depot ready to go. There is, of course, it is a very wide open main. There's a lot of space there, and what we're referring to before with the Zelnaga Caverns reference is it's a relatively open choke at the natural. Like there are some 2 lead-in points that come into the middle, but it's still a relatively wide open space, and this Overlord is trying to get on top of one of these little buildings, but he's not having a good time. But Crimson has picked up a 3rd base just across to the center. What do you think about taking this particular base as opposed to what I think we generally see down more towards that left-hand side?
There's a couple ways you can do this. I actually prefer taking this base because I believe, while he may be getting pneumatic carapace, I think he's going to get really aggressive in this game. And this just, if you look at these rocks in the middle of the map, you can leapfrog creep in between there, and there's really nothing the Terran can do. Like, you'd have to get a medevac, jump it in, scan, and then get rid of the creep. And his creep spread is just going to be incredibly accelerated. But if he wanted to macro and play this game out normally, you can split the map vertically, take these 4 bases on either the left or the right, and just say, all right, we're going to macro.
No, definitely. It's it is an interesting map. I actually haven't seen that many long distance games on this map. Like, as we're talking, sort of 20 plus minutes, but it's definitely a pretty nice map for playing out a longer game if you can get there. So we see Iaguz, he's picked up standard sort of opening here. He's got a tank, he's got a couple of units down on the ground, a couple of medevac is going to come out. So we're not going to see anything like a very aggressive sort of double rack space push or anything like that. He's just
we're seeing no Ravens, seeing no Banshees. He's just kind of, I think he was thinking the exact same thing I was, is, okay, we're going to get units, we're going to get defensive, because once I get to my mid game and I get my macro started up, I can't lose. And he's just going to get there as safely as possible. Like, look at these tanks. They're not messing around.
No.
They're ready to defend this base until the end.
Yeah, he's ready to hold it all together. A couple of extra racks now coming along. We'll see Stim start up in a second. There it is. And Baneling Speed on the way for Crimson, along with his +1 to melee. So he's going to stick with that Ling Bane Muta style, we would assume. And as we can see, we've got the Marines pushing across. This is that phase of the game where you're not necessarily going to be able to just sort of take someone out, but you can do some work on either trying to take down their work account, or perhaps deny some of the creep.
This little siege tank leapfrog, this is going to be so hard to deal with. Oh no. He's going to be able to maybe, I don't think he's going to deny the Zerg, but he's going to force a lot of units out of the Zerg, and as Zerg players, we all know making units is not what we want to do. We want to make drones and nothing else. So let's see how he tries and defends this.
See what he does. There are a couple of Banelings here. They're not really going to get too much done. The tanks, of course, on the low ground are going to be able to provide great suppressing fire. And in fact, I kind of expect Snow, he's going to keep them down there. All right, I wasn't sure if he was going to perhaps bring them all or start to slowly bring them up.
No, he's not going to commit very much or put them at risk. He's just going to try and force units out of the Zerg here. Like, look, he's got no drones at his third. He's making a lot of units. He may just Baneling bust them, honestly. He's just going to make a bunch of units and then be like, all right, Iaguz, you have your tanks here. I'm going to go kill you now.
Yep. A couple of Widow Mines on the way back at home for Iaguz, and the extra racks now popping up as well. So he is going to continue to play that safe sort of style. Looks like drones are in a lot of trouble here. And the advantage for Iaguz is he can just lift up, come back. He's got this zone of control thanks to the siege tanks, and one of the medevacs does go down, but not a huge deal at this point here. There are some Banelings morphing in across to the right-hand side of the map.
Oh, and the Lings are going around. Uh-oh. Does he have anything at home? There's no tanks, there's no splat. This could end the game. This could honestly end the game outright. This is a lot of Zerg units, and Iaguz is really committed to this little non-committal push.
Yeah, and there's so many Banes that are now coming through. There's like 10 of
road.
those. Here they come, the Banelings busting through, Marines are in a little bit of trouble. It looks as if they are going to try and hold the choke point. The Widowmines now burrowing down, finally getting the shots off, smashing through a lot of those Lings, really nicely done. And he should be able to hold this. Some of the SCVs do go down. Meanwhile, back across the map, the tanks are under siege themselves. The Queen's on the high ground, probably not going to kill, or they do kill one of the tanks. Yep, they do kill off both of the Queens. So I kind of feel that it worked out, like, there was a little bit of loss on Iaguz' side, but I mean...
bungled it, though. He needed to go in with the Lynx and the Banelings, and he just went in, and he even left Banelings up here at the third that you see, that he must not have hotkeeyed or something. Maybe nerves from Crimson, because that was not executed well, and he may just die because of it.
Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble now, because he's going to have to spend time building these units, trying to keep everything in play while he's not droning up. And have a look at the drone count, only 54 at this time. You'd love to be a little bit higher than that. At this sort of stage of the game, and some of the drones are
even as 54.
Yeah, exactly. Iaguz now pushing in. He's going to see he's sieged up this base beautifully, and he's going to back out for now. Banelings coming along; they will get taken down. And here comes the parade from Iaguz, just
the
streaming across the map. Some of the Banelings now coming through. Whoop. They should come through. They should be able to get a big hit here. Down go a lot of the SCVs, not too badly done. There are a total of 16 worker kills for Crimson, but is it enough?
The army supply.
Is it enough? It's not at all. 68 army supply for Iaguz. He's taken down a large number of the Zerg units, and now he's just going to push in, and it looks as if he will be able to just completely destroy this base. Queens are just not going to be enough against these Marines. The Marines, they don't have any upgrades just yet. He's sort of been a little bit more focused on just getting these this army count up, and with the third gone, this could be lights out in game number 1 for Crimson.
Looks like Iaguz in this game at some point identified that Crimson was just making a lot of units, so he never bothered to even take a third. He was just like, alright, I'm going to build a bunch of units, and I'm going to make more than you, and I'm going to kill you. And that's going to be how the game ends.
Yeah, it's just
he's doing a good job at it.
Yeah, it was really nicely done. He's now sieged up this position, and down goes the natural. So that is game number 1 going the way of our Terran player Iaguz, and he's going to be pretty happy with that. It was a pretty sort of simple game. I'm still interested in that third base now. After we were talking about that before, what do you think about taking that base now against the Terran player?
I still like it. I honestly think if Crimson would have attacked in with his full force, he may have actually just broken Iaguz if he got up the ramp, or if he got into production, or even got on top of the SCVs. That would have been really hard, and then he would have been like, well, what do you got left, Iaguz? I have two siege tanks, and you have a lot of bases. Also, nothing really stopped Crimson from just taking that base we were talking about. As Zergs know, ever since Wings of Liberty, the Terran attacks one base, you take the other base. You know, you just kind of keep pulling your resources apart until you find something that sticks.
No, exactly. And just waiting to enter this lobby. Why is it taking so long?
It just been a bug.
Yeah.
I'll relaunch it.
Yep.
There we go.
Here we go. All right, so best of 5. We're going to jump into game number 2 now, and we'll see what Crimson can do. Of course, he's definitely capable of contending with Iaguz. You've just got to firstly either sort of make that choice of do I cheese him at the start, or do I play some kind of interesting strat to try and catch him off guard, because as we said, once you get to that late game stage, that's when it becomes really troublesome.
Yeah, you're in Iaguz territory. He also needs to kind of center himself. I think there could be nerves after that game 1. It wasn't very Crimson-like. Crimson is normally very calm, very collected, and he planned out his builds very well, and that was just not great execution. And I hope he'll find himself this game. This is a good map. I like this map.
Yeah. Yuko Precinct, of course. We are down here on the bottom right-hand side with our blue Terran, Iaguz, and across on the opposite side is his opponent, Crimson. Yeah, I'd be interesting to see what happens here. Of course, this is a very interesting map in terms of the layout. Of course, you generally play a little bit more of a vertical game, where you're sort of expanding up, or you know, you're generally expanding up or slightly to the side. You're never really sort of just going, I'm going left or right, and like some other maps. So yeah, we'll see what he does here. Again, this interesting sort of just hatch and then pull play from Crimson here. So he's playing it nice and safe. Doesn't want to have to deal with any
17-17. I would read it cheese from Iaguz. Maybe Iaguz is like, this guy's not great. I'm gonna cheese him out, but Crimson's ready. That ends up being the case, but it's not. You know what I'd like to see from Crimson? There's a new build going around in the Zerg community.
Oh, yeah.
Versus Terran, you do a Baneling Queen drop, and it's really good on this map. And as we saw the other day, Crimson did a Queen Baneling drop versus Protoss.
He did. Yeah.
I believe it's a Railgun in the Zerg community developed this build, and he touted a 20-game win streak record. He goes, I'll let you guys know when I lose with it. So I like to see Crimson break out something like that, a really unorthodox cheese. It really hasn't made its rounds yet.
So tell us what sort of makes that particular style a good build in the current meta versus Terran?
Terrans really don't get a lot of... They do this Raven build, they get a Banshee, they do this kind of unit light but harass heavy openers, which Iaguz did not do in the last game, to be fair. And you just kind of overwhelm them on top of their production, and it's like, well, Queens are shooting up at my Raven, these Queens are killing my Banshees, there's Lings in my Natural, and Banelings are getting dropped on everything I love. And you just kind of die, and it's... Honestly, it's crazy how much the Zerg can get out and into the Terran's base. It's such a short time.
Yeah. And
it's not even that committal, really. You're just kind of, like we saw with Crimson versus the Protoss, you just kind of make drones when you want. So I'd like to see something cheesy like that out of Crimson. But
yeah, no, definitely. It does sound like a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, actually. I tried it out a couple times, and I also haven't lost with it, but it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we will see Crimson
poke up.
Yeah, he's just doing a little bit of poking at the front, just sort of checking out what's going on, making sure there's nothing too fishy going on. He hasn't actually seen the CC, but you can make the assumption. If there was something a little bit more cheesy going on, you probably would have heard about it by now on the radio or something like that. So he's going to take up his third up at this upper position on the top left-hand side of the map. A couple more Lings popping out. Speed will complete as well, and just sort of playing relatively normal here for the moment. It is a slight boost to that Ling count now, just to make sure that he is nice and safe.
It's interesting. I guess might have baited these Lings out of Crimson, because Crimson saw, what, 4 Marines, and you're like, okay, he's got a reactor on his barracks. He's going to be doing some sort of bio-style. And then these Hellions come out, and it's like, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah.
As you see, he's going kind of into the normal build. Oh, what a surround. That's kind of dangerous.
Good catch.
But if he gets on this ramp, he should be good.
I don't know about going up to the ramp. It's a dangerous area to get into. He will take out a couple of SCVs. Nicely done. Would love to see a little bit of targeting just to finish off a couple of the others.
Would have loved him to see get those mules. Those mules, that's a lot of minerals. When you kill a Terran's mule and they just drop it, they're like, well, I guess we're not winning this game. Losing that much mineral income, like, at this early stages of the game, it's devastating.
Yeah. And so we did lose a couple of SCVs, a Hellion, and Iaguz is just going to chill out for now. He's got his racks just pumping out a couple more units. The first medevac has also just finished up, and we will see a Ro4 going down from Crimson. So he's just going to grab out those beefier units, make sure that he's protected against any sort of crazy stuff that does come along.
I wonder if we'll see Ravager Infester out of Crimson. I've never seen him play that style. It's very hard, very fragile style, but the payoff is pretty big, and I'm curious to see if he goes into it. He's normally kind of a Mutiling Bane player. Yeah,
it is one of those high risk, high reward things, because if you, as you said, if you get that payoff, it's amazing, because you have the potential to smash down like a whole bunch of units.
An entire army.
Exactly.
You can just fungal it all down, and spells are strong. I'll say that. Spells are really strong, but this drop in the main, not much here. Hellions at the third.
Just a queen.
No drones for them to get.
Yeah, the Lings now coming in. The Marines are in a nice position. Of course, there's only 4 of them, so it's not going to be too much of a hassle for him to clean out. And with the Spore just finishing up, the medevac is forced out for the time being. Iaguz just going to back away for now. Makarov back at home. Third CC.
What a weird little harass. That was like... That was not enough units to do anything, but it got 5 roaches out of Crimson, and that's a big deal. And he supply blocked, like the biggest supply block I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, has caught him out there.
It's working.
The Hellions poking again, just having a quick poke at that Queen. Of course, a Viking is out on the map, just trying to clear out some of the vision of Crimson, which is, one of the most frustrating things you have to deal with.
That's the worst.
Yeah, it's good that he's got the extra speed for the Overlords. A couple of roaches are coming along now, and there are some Lings just still sort of sharking around the map.
What
just
is this game?
Yeah, it's it's strange.
It's weird to see players of this caliber just run around with like 20 supply of units, and it's like,
oh, wow.
And we're 6 minutes in the game.
Look at the Iaguz reaction. He thinks that there's a Ravager bus coming. I'd imagine.
I would too. When a Zerg makes roaches, they are not making roaches like to defend. They're not making them for anything, because roaches are just bad units. You are making roaches to counter or to just flat out attack. So I would think the exact same thing. especially when he doesn't really have anything that kills roaches right now. We've got 2 cyclones on the way.
No, that's right. There's no tanks, there's no mines or anything like that to get a good shot off and sort of bruise those roaches. So he is going to just really turtle up for now. Yeah, and the double Evo coming along, so it looks as if yeah, he's got the roaches and has forced a reaction, which is really nice. Of course, you can salvage those bunkers and get a little bit of return on those. Not the best return,
yeah,
though.
I think he'll be fine.
But
this game's so weird.
Yeah, yeah. You know what this reminds me? I very occasionally play fours, and one of my favorite things about playing fours is you just watch the other players, you just watch how they just never make units, and it's like.
Right,
well,
they just skirmish with like these little units, and it's like, oh man, I gotta build a bunker for my 2 Marines and my 5 CCs.
Exactly. You'll see, it's either one of two things in fours. You've either got the player who just makes like 1 million tier 1 units, and then that's it, or you've got the people who just make 7 bases and then just try and rely on their teammates.
Carriers.
Yeah,
They're like, guys, protect me. I almost have 1 carrier, dude. It's 35 minutes. Yeah, I know. Isn't this build sweet?
Yeah, it's like
and now we have a Spire.
Yeah, yeah. It's a bit all over the place at the moment.
This is weird.
Yeah.
Like, this game doesn't look that weird. If you're, like, a lower-level player looking at this game, you're like, okay, they're making units, they're getting upgrades, but, like, it's not very efficient from either player. They're both taking really weird paths to get where they need to go to, and like I said, it's really funny to... No, is there no combat shields? Or is it on the way?
It's not on the way.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. A little bit. There it is.
There he goes. There he goes. I was gonna say, it's just what a weird game. What a weird game for both these players. These are really high skill level players, and like it's not like they're messing up, but they've both got reads and scouting information from their opponents that they just don't know what to do with. Like what is going on, and they'll be able to.
Bit of a push through the middle here. It looks as if Iaguz has got his Marines out on the map. 3 medevacs are now loaded up. They're going inside the main base. Let's see what type of damage they'll do. Not much, it seems. So yeah, it's sort of, as you were saying, the efficiency of this game has been. It's like it was a bit of a stutter. You've sort of like
which
the power
I
went out.
think favors Crimson.
Yeah, because
like,
he's
if you've got a really good player, you drag him down in the mud with you, and you're like, all right, dude, we're gonna fight down here. This is where I live. Yeah. And this guy, Iaguz is up in his mansion, in his tower, living his life, and Crimson's like, all right, dude, come in the mud with me, let's go.
And like you said, it was normally you do see that Ling Bane muter out from Crimson, and in fact, Iaguz down in the bottom left-hand side of the main base is going to catch out some of these units, targets down some of the Banes, nicely done, picks up, and he should be able to get out, but he has, the key thing here is he has spotted that tech switch and sees that the Spire is there, so he's going to have to make sure that he's prepared for that. It's not necessarily something that, it's not as if he's just gone mass siege tanks or anything like that to counter roaches, but he does need to just be aware that this is obviously nothing to do with a roach-based play.
Right. He also knows that, that he doesn't have to make siege tanks. He doesn't really even have to build a bunch of turrets. A lot of lower league players are like, oh my god, a Spire, let me build 100 turrets. No. When you see a Spire, you attack the Zerg because he doesn't have money for Banelings, he doesn't have money for anything, and your army's going to be huge compared to these mutants that really can't fight.
I love this push here. He's got his 1-1, and while Combat Shield has only just finished up, the Banelings get some good shots off. It looks as if Iaguz is it's gonna be pretty even, I think. Here, the Banelings will come in and clean this out, but lots of the mutas have died off. I'm pretty sure there were at least 7 of those before, not to mention a lot of the Lings and the Roaches. So Crimson, he's going to be happy that he's deflected that. He's kept the base alive for now, not to mention no drones have been lost as far as I can tell, apart from a couple at the early game. So he's going to be alright with that. Not too bad.
He didn't lose a lot of mutas either. He's going to get back up to the magic number of 10 mutas. Also, his creep spread. Look at this. Connected the main and Nat.
Whoa.
Crimson really, those lessons I've been giving him have been really paying off.
Those lessons, plus up the top here, as you were saying. Look at that. That's a good spread. Loving it.
If he wins this tournament, he might be able to, I don't know, buy another round of lessons from me. So
that's true. That's true.
To that.
They are they're high quality lessons. So
yep. I only accept Melbourne land points too. It's important.
That's exactly right. And Crimson taking the Duckville approach to expanding. If you've got more than 300 minerals, just expand. Yeah, so he's going to
Great advice for lower league players, by the way.
He's going to take this 5th base here in the middle here. And the thing about taking this base, of course, he's only really just sort of saturated the 4th base at that sort of left-hand side.
Yeah.
But taking the 5th is good because then you've got that potential there. However, speaking of potential, mutas are deciding to... What are they doing? Just trying to punch these Marines in the face. Not sure that's the greatest idea. Almost being sandwiched as a couple of Marines and some medevacs are off to the side there. He is going to retreat for now. The muta count has been reduced to 8 for the time being.
He has more medevacs than he has mutas.
Yeah.
He almost has double the medevacs that he has mutas. That's unfortunate. Huge run by coming by at Iaguz' 4th. Oh, is he going to... Oh, no, that's not the right SCV. Also, it's floating.
It's close.
This is a problem.
Yeah, well, that's... Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with what I thought was going to happen.
This, this isn't the campaign where you get those jumping lings, so you can't actually
Yeah.
get a ling. Not that they
those
could anyway,
things are
but you
great.
know what I mean. But yeah, 2-2 on the way for the Flyers over on the Zerg side. We'll see those upgrades come through. Not oh, sorry, it is +2 to
Just to attack.
Yeah, just to attack. My bad. And then the ground carapace. But big push coming in from Iaguz. He looks as if he's going to just sort of split, clear up the creep. I don't think he can take this base, but we'll see what happens as he stems up, pushes forward. Some of the Marines now just pushing into the zone of that hatchery. They are going to have to be very careful as sweeping in from the back come the Banes, and a lot of Lings now coming through this back end area, and Iaguz is just being torn apart there. However, the big train is
supply of
already
medevacs.
on the way.
Really good against this.
Yeah, exactly. Medevacs are pretty good. He could probably just send in some kamikaze medevacs at this point if he can just try and fly into the face of
Send
some
them
of
to
these
the main,
points.
make it look like you're dropping.
Yep. And the Marauders at the front are going to do a lot of damage there and soak up a lot of damage, of course. They take down a lot of the drones. Drones trying to retreat, not really too much that they can do to get out of here safely. And this army is just out of control. 2-2 Bio is now encroaching on the natural base, and I think this could be it for our Zerg player as Ro4's gone. Evo Chambers next on the target list, and they go down. And, well, Crimson, he's got some units out the back. There's quite a respectable amount of mutas, but, you know, you can't really do much with those mutas against these 2-2 Marines and the 7,000 medevacs that are out on the map. So he's going to look to...
too many medevacs. You got to make Liberators. Come on.
Yeah, he's just going to try and get to this side of the map, perhaps take down a command center. You know, having this extra base in the middle is nice, but I mean, with the drone count so low, yeah.
He didn't research the planetary range. So shoot up. That's unfortunate. Oh man. Damn.
What a disaster.
Oh, the Banelings in the main.
That could cost the game. Iaguz lifting up. You know, it was really nice here. Those Banelings were able to roll into the main base a lot quicker because the natural was connected by creep.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. This is the only chance. Oh, the Marauders at the top of the ramp. This is worse than force fields at the top of the ramp, and now he's going to drop on top of them.
Just wait. Just wait until you get to the brood war fun of dealing with lurker eggs that are blocking a ramp. Like, try play Terran against that.
I did that on accident to myself in Brood War. I didn't know what to do.
They have so much armor, it's just you can't do anything. But the Marauders now under fire. The mutas have come in, but I mean, at this point, all the tech is gone. There's really not too much that Crimson has. But let's get some good rolling Banelings coming through, taking out a large amount of the Marines. The Marines are, in fact, going to be all taken out, but that is GG. And that is it for game number 2. Here at the PSL.
Medevacs, pretty good unit. I can't wait in my ladder games to just proxy medevacs and run them at people, because I mean, it worked for Iaguz. It was the most supply he had.
Maybe he thought that you could kamikaze the medevacs into mutas.
Oh, yeah,
could you imagine?
Great. He should have made some well, you can. If you make a Raven and you Hunter Seeker it.
Of course, yeah. You could do that old chestnut. That fun little.
I've had Terrans Hunter Seeker Missile my one muta, and then I run the muta into their whole army, and it blows up their army. They're like, "Wow, nice bug, dude. Nice exploit." I'm like, "Come on, dude." It's like, that's not what that was.
And they go on Reddit and post about it.
Yeah, this Bop CG guy cheated. But 2-0 for Iaguz, dude. He's gonna close this out. I think he just looks like a tier better than Crimson in this matchup.
Yeah, it's just. We've just got to see, as you were saying, I think one of the key things that we've got to look for is perhaps a type of cheese or something a little bit, like that Roach play.
That last game.
The Roach bait in that initial part of the game was actually pretty cool, and it did work. It's just the fact that...
Whether it was on purpose or not, even if it was incidental, he disrupted Iaguz. He disrupted his whole build, he missed his cycles, he made 100 medevacs. You know, these aren't things he's normally going to do. So...
No, that's right, and I mean, I think that's what we've got to see from Crimson if he is going to be able to take down Iaguz. Just that once, as we were saying, the game went in a strange sort of direction, a different fork in the road, and then it got very inefficient in a way for both players to a very small extent. Of course, Iaguz made a lot of bunkers, and he was, you know, scrambling out some cyclones to try and deal with the roaches and
figure out what's going on.
Trying to figure it out, and then, of course, for Crimson, he has a Roach Bar and he's invested in some roaches, meaning that his Baneling tech was later, and then, of course, the mutas were a bit later as well. So it became this very strange game. Yeah. But once it got back on track, that's where Iaguz was just like, no, it's cool. I've got macro. Yeah. We're all good to go. So here in game number 3 on our lovely old school map, Belshire Vestige, down in the bottom right hand side is Iaguz, and top left is Crimson. So Crimson, once again, this very safe sort of opening with the pool and the gas and going over to the hatchery. So Iaguz is going to continue to play his relatively same sort of build.
Making a Marine again.
Yeah.
This is, I do this on ladder, by the way. You make 2 Marines instead of a Reaper, and then you go catch an Overlord, and the guy just leaves.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like, well, this isn't a real game. No one makes Marines. They just are out of there.
I do it at the start of mech as well, because I find it funny sometimes, like, Copper League players will be like, he's made 2 Marines and he killed an Overlord. Must be some kind of bio play. Yeah. And then it's like, no. And, like Thors and tanks rock up. But here we go. So it is going to be a slightly different build this time. Second rack's now coming up, plus that extra gas as well. Nice. So we'll see what Iaguz is going to go for. Perhaps that very pressure-intensive double racks play that we did see a couple of times in GSL and everything the other day from, I believe it was Innovation.
That was so good.
Was it Innovation? Was it?
No, it was the other group with Yell and...
That's right, yeah.
Oh, what was the Terran in that group? I can't remember. He was so good, though.
Yeah, that was
I remember we were messaging each other like, oh my god, the micro! It's so good!
It was awesome. So, lots of drones on the way, as per usual. And there's the factory. So, yeah, it is going to be lots of Marines, and we'll probably expect, I believe it's 2 medevacs. I can't remember exactly, but something like that. And... let's just see. There's a tech lamb as well. 3rd hatchery coming through for Crimson, and
bunker for Iaguz. He's like, I'm not gonna make too many this game. This is gonna be my 1 bunker, and it's gonna be great. This is all we need.
And then I'm gonna sell it, no matter what happens.
We're gonna sell it.
In fact, he's gonna build it and then sell it, just so
Yep. Oh, well, it's gonna appreciate. That's an Iaguz bunker. You know what I mean? The Caprolu sector, they're gonna give you extra money back for that one. True. That's signed.
If you sign it,
Yeah. But I signed mine, and they say we're not going to take it. We don't accept washed up players.
Do you remember when you could get back 100% of the value of the bunker?
That was amazing. Oh my god.
I remember, like, probably one of my favorite state of the game moments when In Control was talking about like how you could just build bunker farms and then sell them later on because you've got all that invested money, and it's just like, this is the dumbest thing ever, but it's hilarious. But and then, of course, they changed it because everybody was doing bunker rushes and all this kind of stuff, and like...
And they were defending, because our macro back then, like, we weren't as mechanically crisp as we were now, so it's like, oh, I have 400 minerals, what should I make? Well, these 4 free bunkers that mean I can't die, and then they get maxed. They didn't deserve to get maxed, but they ended up maxing out on bio. It was great. Oh, man, what a time to play StarCraft. That was amazing.
I think it'd be really funny to go back to some of those old school times and just watch... Especially some of the players who would be like, oh, I'll make a siege tank, and then go forward and try and push with it, and it's like, no, you've got to research siege mode first. What are you doing?
I tried to do a 2 factory rush to someone in Brood War, and I showed up with my tanks and tried to siege them, and then I'm like, oh, it's on O, and I click it, and it didn't work. It didn't work. I didn't have siege mode. And I just left. It was awesome.
Oh dear. So there you go, the 2 medevac stim is going to complete by the time he gets to the opposite side of the map, and of course he is going to be Iaguz is going to be quite comfortable here in his natural with the 3rd CC also on the way. Now, what we want to see from
Medevac's
Crimson...
not scouted.
Ooh.
I want him to see these. He must know something's up. He's going to make some units, but I mean, Zerglings alone don't deal with this. He's going to need these queens to be in a good position.
There are going to be...
It's so hard to deal with.
Yeah, there are going to be a reasonable amount of queens. It looks as if we do have that kind of dark style with the 6 queens out and ready to go. They're going to try and target down the medevacs as best as they can. Lings are going to try and soak up some of the marine fire here, and off he goes, taking some shots, but I guess we'll evacuate, So that was a nice defense there. Crimson's going to be quite happy with that. He's still got his drone count pumping up, 5 more on the way.
Gets his creep spread back up. His Veiling Nest is going to finish soon. This game's looking good for him. Looking good.
Yeah.
And this little build, this little 2 barracks build, it's important to do a little bit of damage with it because you kind of set yourself behind on gas. So he's going to need to deny some creep here or something to make it worth. Otherwise, his Zerg is just kind of getting rocketed into the mid game.
Yeah. One thing that we can definitely say about the way Iaguz is playing here is that his macro is still so far on point. He's up at 50 SCV, so he's still well in contention with the Zerg side of the economy. Queens are going to now push up, try and spread some further creep to the sides here, and Iaguz looks like he might want to have a quick look. Let's see what he's going to do here. Perhaps just to clear out the creep at least. That's what he's going to want to do. Meanwhile, up the back, Crimson's getting those queens into position here. I don't think Iaguz can see this yet. No, he can't. In they come. Then we'll get a couple of shots off on the medevacs. Yeah, not too bad.
This is the important place to get this creep denied too, because obviously this is the fourth that Crimson wants to take, whereas creep has the most vision.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not for long though. If Iaguz keeps poking in here like this.
No, definitely. And it looks as if,
speed,
yeah, I was gonna say bailing speed is missing, and this is one thing that I'm a little bit scared about for Crimson is that when he
not even on the way.
Yeah, no. Once it's something that we have seen him do a couple of times is that in some of the previous tournaments in WCS qualifiers and such, just slightly missing out on the timing of that the bailing speed, and it looks as if it's happened here again. But poor drone.
He gave up.
He tried. He did his best.
He was suicidal. He gave up. He didn't do his best. Not even close.
So he's now going to try and push
up.
in here. Yep, bailing speed on the way. This is the point where Crimson said, "Oh my god, I've missed out on bailing speed." Looks as if the medevacs do get caught out there. A couple of Marines going down. Back over on the Terran side of the map, nice transfer of the SCVs across to the third.
A little wall.
A little bit supply blocks. Nice. Yeah, a little bit supply blocks. So he is going to be happy to grab those extra supply depots as well. Meanwhile, Crimson's almost halfway done.
Banking up so he can make 4 mutas. This will be nice. 5 mutas. Sorry.
5. The big 5.
Oh, the medevacs! Nice rally. All right, there we go.
Ooh, look out.
Oh, he didn't get the queen.
Queen's
That's a
in
big
trouble.
deal.
They had a lot of energy as well, and in fact, the ones that survive are the ones with low energy, so this could get a little bit dicey here for our Zerg player. Creep has been cleaned out all over the place, but it's still progressing very far across the map. Very nicely done. But looks as if Iaguz is going to back out for the time being. Let's see what he's got over on his side of the map. We've got our +2 to weapons on the way. Of course, we're not doing double upgrades for our Terran player. He's just sticking with the single for now.
Yeah, it gets a little delayed when you do this little barracks opener like I was talking about earlier. Your timings are crisp. You kind of have to stack a little bit gas. Like, look at his money. He doesn't really have much, and we know Iaguz. He wants to pop out 11 medevacs at a time. It's important. Oh, he scouts out these lings.
Yep.
And the lings scout out the medevac on the left side. I don't know who that's better for.
Yeah. I would say it's better for the Zerg, just given the mobility of the Zerg units.
I think it's better for the Terran, because he's getting in position for these lings, and they're going to go back.
So he's going to drop inside the main base. He is well prepared here. It looks as if Crimson is going to deflect this for the time being. Meanwhile, over on the right.
Go down.
Ooh. Nicely done by Iaguz, getting some work done inside the main. It looks as if the queen and the couple of Ling Bane is going to deflect that attack, but the main action is over here at the 4th base. Nice cleanup by Crimson.
Lings don't win this in the main. You know, in the game guide, it says the Lings are a counter to Marauders, but...
Really?
Those 20, yeah, it does, and those 20 Lings didn't even hurt those Marauders.
Damn.
They're not a counter to medevac. That's the problem.
Well, I think that's it.
Yeah.
We have to, we should probably, message David Kim. Like, he's not working on it anymore, but blame him anyway.
No, but he needs to know what he did.
Well, yeah, I
he
mean,
needs to know what he did.
It was
like when a dog pees on the carpet, you gotta let him know what he did. Right?
Yeah.
Rub his nose in it.
Yeah.
It's important.
It was from his era.
On the way.
It was from his era, so we can still blame
his legacy.
Yeah.
His legacy of the void.
Legacy of the Kim.
Big push coming in here in the 4th. A lot of banelings, but off creep this fight would be. This is rough. That creep denial really matters.
Yeah. That's really played into effect here. It looks as if Crimson is going to have to deal with a massive Terran spread here. There are mines all over the place. The mutas will come through. Looks as if he is going to get some good shots off. Lots of larvae dying there, which is strangely important. Banelings now coming through. Crimson is going to deflect some of the ground for the time being. The mutas are still going to stay alive and clean out.
The mine shot!
Oh, big hit there. And,
my Zerg heart. Oh, that hurts so much. And there's just still Marines alive.
Yeah,
the unit retention here is just way too good for Iaguz. He's just rallying across the map. He's macroing. He's in his element.
And we would imagine that Iaguz is now going to take his 4th base across to the right-hand side as well, so that when his units are pushing through, they're also covering off the 4th base. Muta's going down. They're very, very low on. Well, they were very low on health, but he's cleaned out a couple of them there. We'll take out a medevac or 2. Some of the Lings and Banes going down. It looks as if, well, Iaguz is sort of.
Crimson. He doesn't need to fight here. There's nothing to fight over. Like, you don't have a base here. Just leave. Just yield. Yield this creep. Yield everything and go take another base. And he's actually pushing into the 3rd, but Not a lot of lanes, huh?
Yeah. Like,
do a little bit of damage.
There's a reasonable amount of damage
Oh,
that they can
dropping
get
the
up
main,
here.
wow.
In fact, they will get through. Drop up at the top left-hand side there. Looks as if there's going to be some
And the
injects
third.
thrown about. The Queens are just like, let's get the injects done first, boys. But the third base is now
Got priority.
in a lot of trouble.
Big Baneling hit, but not enough.
Yeah, there's just too much Terran here. There is 113 Terran army supply to 55 of our Zerg player.
more.
And yeah, just...
More than Crimson's actual supply.
Yeah. He is,
Oh no.
He's getting some work
Drones.
done across here at the third base of the Terran. And in fact, the...
Oh, he can kill these
Yes,
two
he-
Marines.
I don't know what these
Well,
SCVs are doing,
yeah, he
but,
does. Alright,
yeah,
nice.
they're just dancing around. Meanwhile, at the third base of the Zerg, still a lot of Marines he will probably have to pick up here, and I don't think he's going to get out with those medevacs. The mutas...
He's so good at hot pickupping just the Marines. Like, that is not easy to just quickly bam, bam, and up and out. Like, normally people just pick up everything, and he's just so good at getting the Marines.
Yeah.
Oh!
Terran army was whittled down quite a decent amount, but there is another big one on the way. Marines, Marauders, they do have their 2-3 upgrades. Of course, that is a big tipping point here, and
There it
GG.
is.
That is going to be it for our Zerg player, Crimson. Iaguz moves forward into the grand final. We're going to have a TVT final between two excellent ANZC players here. We've got Cedar versus Iaguz. And
My American brain, that confused me so much. ANZ.